Now join me as we explore part 2 of our series on this major issue of what does it mean to worship in spirit and in truth. And today we explore what does it mean to worship in spirit. Since Jesus said that true worshipers will worship God in spirit, it is absolutely imperative that we understand what that means. But before we talk about what it does mean, let's consider several things that it does not mean. It does not mean worship that is necessarily spirited, that is enthusiastic, excited. I say that because the mood of worship will depend upon the attitude of the heart. At times, the heart will be joyous and excited, as was the case with Miriam and the women of Israel when they worshiped God following their deliverance from the Egyptian army. But at other times, the heart may be sorrowful and subdued, as surely must have been the case when David worshiped God following the death of his infant son. In these two examples of worship, the mood was very different, but the worship was acceptable in both cases. I believe that worshiping in spirit refers to worship that emanates from the spirit of humankind. Paul said, "For God is my witness, whom I serve with my spirit in the gospel of his Son." Because God is spirit, a true worshiper will worship God with that part of himself or herself that is made in the image of God, his spirit. In other words, worship must spring forth from the inner person. And this inner person, this spirit, includes the intellect, the emotions, and the will. To worship, then, is worship from the inside out. In reaction to dull, routine, lifeless, boring worship services, men who yearn for a more meaningful, gratifying religious experience are crying out that we need more emotion, more feeling in our worship to God. I do not necessarily disagree with that assessment, but there is a real danger in trying to produce with external techniques that which must emanate from the heart. To solve the problem of habitual routine, formalistic, ritualistic worship with external techniques like gadgets and gimmicks and games is to use a band-aid when what we really need is open heart surgery. Improving the worship is part and parcel of the whole job of turning people to God. Getting them to partake of the divine nature is not the service that needs changing. It's the people that must be changed to new creatures truly converted. True worship is a matter of the heart.